Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show, and time for an earlier than scheduled late night Leeds. I hope you are all doing well. Listen, there's already 404 of you waiting patiently there for us to come. Apologies if I'm a little bit late. It's always me. I do apologise. So tonight we have got with us, we've got Lloyd from Let's Talk Leeds. We do have Lockie from Lockie Leeds, and we have Casper. I mean, sorry, not Casper. We have Andrea, Andrea Russo.
We're coming. I come from the Netherlands. Very good to speak with all of you.
Listen, let's just find out how everyone is. Lloyd, you're back with us, mate. You've got a bit of a mad work schedule, but you were free tonight. How are you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Yeah, the shift work, 2 nights, 2 days. It just kills you, but yeah, today's been a good day, a positive one, especially as far as Leeds are concerned. So yeah, spirits are lifted, mate.
It's been popping off.
Yeah.
I had the WWE stuff out earlier on. I was that high.
I saw it.
Lockie, apart from being tired, mate, it's been a good day, right? How are you doing?
Yeah, it's been mental, literally. Just cleaning, coming back, checking Twitter. Oh, there's another announcement, honestly. Yeah. And then next time I looked, it was 6 o'clock. Like, where's the day gone? Yeah, it's been great, hasn't it? It's good for us fans, isn't it, to get some news.
It has. And on a positive note, on my football manager save on Twitch, I've got Champions League first season and one manager at year for Leeds United. So
nice.
I was there. Yeah.
Just you were there, bro. You were chanting the name in the streets. I love it. And we've got Andrea. How's look how happy we are. It's been such a good day. Andrea, how's Italy and how are you, my man?
I don't know about Italy. I know about the Netherlands, but yeah, no.
I was like, what's he on about?
No, it's good. You know, it was a good day regarding news, especially because especially the Ampadu one, because we talked about him in one of the scouting reports. It was insane on our perspective because nobody brought up that name before. You know, we were talking about the name, but realistically, you know, it was a player that had played 2 seasons in the top tier in Serie A. So we talked about him, but realistically, we couldn't imagine him coming so quickly after that video. So yeah, it's finally the things are starting to move. Regarding Italy, yeah, it's boiling hot, but we move, you know.
Yeah, I wish it was hot here. It was hot the other week, and then since then it's just pissing down constantly.
Off, innit?
Yeah, it's brutal, man. We had storms the other day. It just does me head in, honestly. But yeah, hot weather soon come, hopefully. And look, you know, my mum, right? When we were younger, we used to wait for buses, and when you don't want a bus, you know, the saying goes, 2 come along at once. Do you know what I mean? So. Like, my mum, honestly, would wait for a bus and she'd go, do you know what? I'm going to light up a cigarette. Because as soon as I light up a cigarette, a bus will come. That's what she used to say it was. And it was like that today in terms of, like, one thing happened and then it was just bang, 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 bang. And we said, and we're told that the 49ers move in silence. Boy, do they move in silence. Because, like Andrea's just been saying, Ethan Ampadu came out of nowhere. It got announced. First real story broke from a guy from the Evening Standard. I don't know, let's say 10 a.m. within an hour. Our deal's nearly done. And then it was like, boom, done and medical, you know, scheduled for later on in the week. And then within the next half an hour, we got a new technical director, Greta Thunberg or whatever his name is. I think it's Greta Steinson. So yeah, it was it's mad. Let's start right from the beginning then, and I'm going to come back to you, Andrea. We're going to start with Ethan Ampadu because we did say it would be nice if we did pick up one player from the scouting report. You know, there was lots of names on there, like you say, Polyapanu, I think his name was. We had Oscar Bob, Borges, some class names in there. But like you say, Ethan Ampadu this morning, and got everybody excited, and we put together that little short. And a lot of people keep coming with this narrative, bro, about him being a centre-back and him being relegated 3 times, etc. But do you just want to give us some context on that, and also just chat about Ethan Ampadu, because you've seen him in the flesh, brother?
Yeah, like I said, I don't think he's a centre-back, because if you look especially at the relegation playoff, when Spezia lost 3-1 to Verona, he was at fault at 2 goals. When he plays at centre-back, especially in the back 3, but Spezia were playing with 4 back then at the beginning, then moved to 3 later on in the game. His positioning is bad as a centre-back, and he struggles a lot with the physical battle, because he had to mark Milan Djuric, the Bosnian international, who is the backup of Dzeko in the national team, and he struggled a lot. But I've seen him play previously versus Atalanta at La Spezia, and at that time the manager was different. So if you look at the context, he played in midfield there. In that game, he was really good. I think he was the best player of Spezia in that game. He didn't even score, but got disallowed because he was offside by some inches, you know. You have to look at the whole context about Ampadu, because, of course, in Italy, he played the majority of the game at centre-back. Because you're right, from Chelsea, where he played the majority of the games, especially coming into the squad from Exeter as a centre-back at the beginning when he was a teenager. Then to Sheffield United, at Sheffield United, he moved in midfield multiple times, and I think he was good overall. Of course, Sheffield United were awful that season. We made the same mistakes of Sheffield United, you know, not strengthening the squad. They finished 8th, I think, or 9, no, 10. It was 10, I think. And then after the season after, when we were promoted, they were relegated because they didn't strengthen enough the squad. But in Italy, he played at Venezia as a centre-back, and at Spezia as a centre-back, mainly. And that is not his position. That is not his position. His position is centre-mid / defensive midfielder. He's very good in terms of interceptions, tackles, especially if you look at the tackles, even when he plays a centre-back. Look at some of his highlights from Italy this season. The majority of interceptions and tackles are him coming off the defensive line to tackle towards in front of the defense. So he doesn't follow the line sometimes. And if he gets caught out, he leaves a gap between him. But when he played as a center mid or a defensive mid, he was very good because his decision making and timing was quick. And in terms of its interception, it reminds me of Adamson sometimes, you know, that type of player, you know. But coming through, is of course more a defensive player. But it's good too between the lines, you know, when he has the space to lead with run a little with the ball. He uses the space very well, and passes and cuts through the line. So I really think he's a midfielder. That's the main concept. Talking with Spezia fans after the game, even in Reggio, the relegation panel, everybody was saying that he's not a defender. That the manager Semplici had made the mistake to play as a centre back when they were too light in midfield. They didn't have a player like him that can do both phases, the defensive one and the offensive one. But you know, the general opinion of in Italy is that he's a defender. But if you look at the national team with Wales, he plays mainly in midfield. At the Euros, he played in midfield. At the World Cup, he played in midfield. And I think that's clearly his position.
Perfect, mate. Perfect summing up, as I say. And having seen a lot of responses, you know, and people, listen, I am like not worthy of some of your folks' ball knowledge. I'm not going to sit here and profess, and it's the same to people on Twitter. We always look to other people, and you always want to learn. So when I hear people that I know much more about the game than me say, do you know what, he's better as a midfielder, he's shown these qualities and that qualities, it's a positive thing. I think as well, Lockie, one of the interesting things, and big up Joe Donahue for this, he actually did an article a couple of days, like 2 weeks ago, where he was discussing about how Farke's first signing in sort of like each season was a deep lying British based sort of like midfielder. And he mentioned the likes of Harrison Reed, Ollie Skip, and Billy Gilmore were 3 acquisitions that he made. So it does lend you to believe that it's following the same suit, and we are going to see Ethan Ampadu playing midfield as opposed to centre-back, you'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. I think it's a good point from Joe Donahue. And actually, when you think about it, I think the main reason for that is that role in a team in the Championship. You know, it's kind of very British role. You know, the attributes you associate with the Championship and with British players is that physical toughness and that kind of longevity in that position. And you look at all the CDMs in the Championship, and most of them are British based. Hello. So yeah, I like that. I think one thing that really stands out with Ethan Ampadu for me is his ball progression. For a guy who was a centre back or wherever he played, he's excellent at progressing the ball, and it's probably an attribute that kind of goes under the radar. Really, you know, he's really good defensively. We know that, but when he gets the ball and I watch him when he's in tight positions, he'll find a way out of it. He's really good at retaining the ball, and forward passing and cutting them lines is something he really excels in for me. But I also saw when, say, there's a high press against him, all he'll do, if he can't run out with it, because he'll look to run out with it, he'll look for that wide pass on the other side of the pitch. The winger or whoever will be out there. And most of the time it will go straight to him. Andre, you've probably seen it in the flesh, you know. Yeah. He's really good at finding that long ball if he needs to as well. And in a FARC system, that might be required. If it's a high press, you're struggling to get out from playing, where's that outlet and who can do it? And he's the one. Yeah, I'm buzzing with this one. I really am. I did a video and I've never been so excited.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Obviously, we've got group chats and whatnot, and you know, there was a genuine excitement from yourself. Like, just talk to me about Ampadu and what, like, apart from that side, just the emotional side of it. Like, how, you know, are you pumped about it?
Oh yeah, well, we've been waiting for so long, and I think as a first name, an actual credible name,
yeah,
for me, it's too good for the Championship. Say it quietly. I just think he is. I think the experience he's got in Italy, being played out of position, you know, and still putting up some amazing stats. For me, getting him in the Championship, people talking about Harry Winks and, you know, other teams like that getting good coups. And
Harry Winks can't hold the flame of this guy, man. Don't worry about it. Just say it. Say what you want to say, because he's in the chat. The guy is in the
chat. No, I'm just saying, though, but in terms of stature and statement, it's there, you know, for me anyway. You know, people will look, so you've got relegated, that's a load of rubbish. It's a sport, it's a team game. But yeah, I'm genuinely so excited with this. And if we can follow it up with a few more names we've been linked with, that's why we've got to be a bit patient, you know what I mean? We've just got to wait a little bit. And we'll get there eventually. But yeah, I'm buzzing with this one, honestly. Can't wait.
Same, man. Same. Yeah. It's funny, man. Like we as a channel and people that contribute have created this this hatred towards Harry Winks and how poor of a footballer he is, and our opinion. Actually, no. To be fair, Andre, give him some flowers from time to time.
I don't mind him too. I don't mind him too.
I don't. More so just because Locks likes him. So
Locks said horrific take, Locks, because he thinks Harry Winks is like Maradona playing.
Yeah, exactly. Just before I come to you, Lloyd, I want to chat to Wayne. Wayne, right? I'm going to be real with you now, brother. Yeah, I love every single contributor to this channel, both that come on, both that watch, both that leave comments. Genuinely, bro, I have never seen you happy in any of my comments, right? And I seen another comment earlier on saying, what makes you say Dennis is better than Bamford? Why do you want Kamara? And you're now also saying that you don't get the excitement about Ampadu and definitely not Kamara. So, you know, listen, I'm grateful. When can you be happy? Like, I think for me, it's a time to be happy. Lloyd from Let's Talk Leeds, I'm still putting the channels in the description, so bear with me, folks. But Lloyd, what were your thoughts after it being so quiet and then bam?
Yeah, it's just like today has just been like 2 weeks worth of stuff happening in a day, hasn't it? It's just since we've been relegated, it's just been nothing at all. And then today it's just been bang, bang, bang. I was making a video earlier, then halfway through it, I might as well have just deleted it because it had all changed. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a brilliant signing. And like Andrea said, and Lockie as well, I'm quite surprised he's like actually come to us. Like, even though we're a massive club, but I just felt like his next move would be to like a lower end Premier League team, maybe one of the promoted lot. And just going back to that man's comments, what you just flashed up, like it's like when we don't sign someone, people get annoyed. Then we sign someone, then people still get annoyed.
Yeah.
So, but considering like he's a centre back by trade, Ampadu, he's got a lot of like almost attacking qualities. Like Lockie said, his ball progression is brilliant, and spraying it left and spraying it right and playing in tight positions. It's a real good signing, especially at 7 million as well. I think that's a brilliant bit of business, actually.
Yeah,
but 22 as well.
22.
Yeah,
I still can't believe he's 22.
Mental.
And
I still can't
4
believe
caps for his country at 22 years old.
crazy.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Let's talk about that fee. Thoughts on it? 7 million with a few add-ons, like could maybe get to 10 or something, but even still for 22-year-old, like you mentioned, it's mental.
Well, when I heard it was 12 million, I was still quite impressed with that.
Yeah, same,
I was
bro.
like, that's good. And then it was 7. I was like, God, yeah. So
I think for me as well, the amount of attributes he has, if he develops right, the ceiling for him is really high. You know, he's not one-dimensional. He can do a lot of things, and that's what's really good about a player. So I was just going to say, if you don't want him to play centre-back, but you say we have a really bad injury problem there, at least you know you have a player who's competent at doing that. So his versatility is big for me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also looking at the fee, to make a comparison, last season we spent almost the same 5 million for Gnonto, who was at the time still on the rise. You know, he had a good season.
That's a very good point, actually. It was an unknown quantity.
Exactly. It was barely unknown, you know, because he had a good season and in the Swiss League, but even in Italy, before Mancini called him up for one game in the Nations League, little people, you know, only a few people knew who he was. And if you look at the fee that we we're going to spend for Ampadu, 7 million, is but Ampadu is an established player. He played 2 seasons in Serie A. He played 1 full season in the Premier League with Sheffield United. He played some way from Chelsea. Had an experience abroad for RB Leipzig, has 40 caps at 22 for Wales. And previously, I saw an interview from this season in La Spezia with a Welsh journalist. They were speaking about the fact that he asked to Ampadu about the fact that Rob Page said that he can be a future captain for Wales after Aaron Ramsey retires. You know, but even especially, I think for the move. The fact that that he wanted to come back to the UK, because I spoke with a friend of mine from Spezia, journalist, before. I said that, of course, he had a good relationship with the teammates in Spezia, but that didn't, he was a little bit, annihilated, you say, on his own. Didn't really...
Alienated, yeah?
Alienated, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
To the seat, it was just football and the teammates, but didn't really connected with the local culture, the local community. He's a modest guy, very, it's difficult. Back in the past, when we had David Platt and other players from England coming to Italy back in the 90s, it was the costume, it was an habitude. But right now, there's a few players, Smalling, Abraham, and Ampadu, from the UK. So it's difficult to set into a new culture, a new league, especially looking at the physicality and the tactics based football. So I really think he wanted to come back to the UK, and after 3 relegations, the opportunity to play a central role in a club that will surely be challenging for automatic promotion as its goal is a good project for a player that wants to return to the UK. From a middle step, taking a step back to take a step forward in my point of view.
Yeah. And the last player to do that was Rafinha, and that didn't go too bad, did it? So let's hope this has a symbol. Listen, before we do go any further, now that I've put everyone's channels and Twitters and socials in the description, I just want to shout you out. Listen, we've got 1,200 people watching live, which is absolutely insane. So I just want to thank you all for being here and spending your evening with us, chatting about what is an exciting day. It just shows you, even from a content creation perspective, if things are going well, people want to sample it. So listen, whilst being here, please make sure you subscribe. We hit 21k earlier on today, which is amazing. So thank you, and make sure you go check out Lloyd at Let's Talk Leeds United, who's on his way to 1,000 subscribers. Lockie, who's just surpassed that. Make sure you go over and check both channels out, and of course, Andrea, the Italian goat, the only Andrea that we like on Twitter, and who's here quite a lot. But yeah, listen, I think we can all say with a resounding tick Ampadu is a great potential first signing. And then also, whilst that news was broke, and if you remember, we discussed last week about Graham Smith chatting about Leeds also have an international midfielder in mind. Now, that could have been Ampadu, but it could have also been this other midfielder we're going to chat about, and that's Glenn Kamara, who's currently at Rangers, Finnish international. Again, I'm led to believe that personal terms are agreed at that, and that transfer fee could be 4 million with $1 million on add-ons, like 5 million and 7 million. Or let's just take the thing minus the add-ons. About 11, 12 million for Ampadu and Kamara. For me, it's unbelievable business, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
go on.
Yeah, go on, Lucky. No, I was just gonna say absolutely. So
the Kamara one as well. Like, I don't know as much as Ampadu, obviously, but from what I've seen, his technical ability is insane. His ball control is insane. He's got a really good ability to shift quickly, change direction. So that's great in a FARC system. Obviously, when you're transitioning,
what position would you have him? Where would he slot in for you?
He played a lot of CDM, but I actually like him further forward. I think if you think of the pivot you have of Ampadu and potentially Adams, I think there's definitely space for a Kamara who's a lot more, I won't say creative, because he don't get a lot of goals and assists, but a lot more skillful and technical on the ball. He can drive forward and draw fouls. And I think as a final third product, I'd like to see Kamara in there more. I think, you look at FARC's number 10s and they have that technical ability. And for me, Kamara with Ampadu and Adams or something like Darko JB behind him is an excellent midfield three in the Championship.
Yeah. Do you think signing both of them is sort of putting the writing on the wall for Adams, or do you think it's additions, or maybe a bit of both?
I guess just before anyone answers that, Gabe actually put a super chat in earlier that says this is for me a good sign. Adams will be going, sadly. We could do a lot worse for a replacement, and I really rate him good sign, and I think that's on Ampadu. But there is that. But even let's say, for example, because I'm still of the thinking that a lot of them will leave. It's just Leeds maybe playing hardball, and it's nice to see that. If Adams leaves, it'll be close to 40 million. Otherwise, they'll get told to be put in the bin. I think that's my opinion. Go on. What were you going to say?
I think he has a release clause of 30 million.
Does he actually have a release clause?
I read about it. Recently.
Okay.
I think he has 30 million, but right now, if you look at his injury record, Joe, last season towards the end, and they're still talking if he has fully recovered from that. And right now, I don't think there's a club that spends 30 million for Tyler Adams at this stage. So that might be the possibility, for us to keep him. I don't think right now there's a club that spends 30 millions. They try to lower that fee down, but I agree with you, honestly. 35 million, 40 millions, but looking at the clause 30 million, we should stick by that right now.
So even if he stays or goes, it's kind of like if he does stay, that's competition, and there's a good competition in midfield.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if he goes, you've still got Ampadu and potentially Kamara to vacate that position. So I love Adams, but like I said, I do think he can be replaced if you recruit right.
Yeah, West Ham will be in the market for a midfielder as well, obviously. Yeah. I think they might be looking at Pelini at around about 60 million, I've seen mentioned.
I think it was rejected today, didn't they?
That bid of 60 million, was it?
I think so. I think they rejected the bid today, yeah.
So. Lee, much like Wayne, when are you ever happy, brother? When are you ever happy? Honestly, don't kill my vibe this evening. I'm on it, right? You should be happy. I don't understand. Who's a short-term replacement? A 22-year-old Ethan Ampadu is a short-term replacement. I don't know what, to be honest, I don't know what you're smoking, brother, if I'm being totally honest, but it is what it is. Any thoughts then on Glenn Kamara? If the fee is correct at 4 million, it's a perfect bit of business, isn't it?
Yeah. Like we said, combine both of them for 12 million. Yeah. And say Tyler Adams was to leave for 30, 35, and you're replacing him with two players for a third of the price. I think that's good business. And also we've got Darko JB there as well. So
Lewis
Bate as well.
Short. Bate,
Good competition. Yeah, actually great. It's good competition.
There's depth. We never have depth recently in midfield.
No, exactly.
No,
This is what I mean, and I guess like Wayne said here, one thing you do not want to do is stifle youth progression. Now,
That's on them.
Right, so, but again, though, Lockie, it's really frustrating because it's like, don't sign anyone, right? If that's the case, why are we signing? Why do we want experienced midfielders? Just let JB, Gray, and Bate run a championship season over the case of 46 games. Come on, man.
I was just going to say, Joe, as well, like the Darko, JB, Archie Gray, Lewis Bate, if they're as good as we think they are, they will be fighting for the spot and they will be getting game time. If they're not, they need to do more. It's simple as that. Fark is not just going to buy these players and not look at the youth. We know he does that. He does it all everywhere he goes.
It's a long old season. It's 46 league games, league games.
42 games, League Cup.
That's on them. That's on them to step up to the level they need to be at.
Absolutely,
That's on them now.
We'll need them all for how long the season is. They'll all have a role to play, whether it's to replace injuries, to come on as sub at the end, because it's going to be Saturday, Tuesday. We're going to need them all. So
100%.
Yeah, and especially the same for Ampadu, Kamara is an international player too. He played at the Euros from Finland. He played in the Europa League for Rangers. They even reached the final. He scored against Zvezda, Red Star Belgrade in that campaign. It was really good for them that season, even in the season when they won 55, their title under Gerrard. But I agree totally with Loki. I would like to see him in a more advanced position as a CM, probably not a DM, because he's more sort of a box-to-box player. So you can play him alongside Adams or Ampadu, depending on who stays, or one of the two if they both stay, of course. And that would be brilliant, Looking at the price, it will create depth first. It will bring you an experienced midfielder. And he's only 27, he's not that old, to Kamara.
Yeah.
But also give you the opportunity to have finally a deep holding playmaker or defensive player who can start the action after recovering the ball, and a box-to-box one who could give options going forward, and also stability in the defensive end. So I'm totally pro this signing. It will be a smart business, like Lloyd said. Looking at both fees, it will be mental, and especially if we sell Adams, we will have money to spend on a forward, probably
on a Piroo
with the parachute payment too. Actually,
we'll chat about that. Listen, we've got 1,300 people, folks. 451 likes. If you haven't already liked the video for me, and make sure you go over and subscribe to these respective channels as well. Alfie says, can you imagine a midfield three of Adams, Ampadu, and Kamara? Is that Volpa's face on Maldini? Is it?
Is that Maldini or Nesta or one of them?
Yeah,
it looks like an Italian former striker, Nicola Ventola, with that there.
Love that. Gabe said, youth progression equals youth players winning places. This is a great point as well, because I hate to say it, I know a lot of people will be now sort of will look at it and say, oh, you're full of it, blah, 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 blah. But I think we ruined Meslier in a sense because of the amount of shots a young kid like him in the best league in the world has faced. His confidence shot to shit. He couldn't catch a ball. It was totally, and that again is due to age and poor management, because he should have been brought out sooner. That's one thing I will give Sam Allardyce props for in that respect. Lee Chris thinks there's better players out there. Just saying he wants Gyökeres, him, Haaland, the lot.
Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. Stacey says, floating on a cloud, the dream team. There you go. And Loxus says, for the Leeds transfer kitty, Henry Lansbury. There you go. And Barney as well says, 49ers out here restoring faith in us Yanks. The faith was never not there. It's just with a certain few individuals. Because like I say, we all still love the man that is Tyler Adams, and hopefully he stays. But if he doesn't, he is replaceable. Right, okay. A man that could be tasked with replacing Tyler Adams is Greta Steinson. I think that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered it, but I gave it my best shot. Let's hand over to the resident pronunciation expert, actually. Andrea, how do we pronounce it?
I think it's Greta Steinson. Probably.
There you go.
I
did see him scoring a wonder goal earlier.
Yeah,
I did see him scoring a wonder goal earlier, right? Did you see that?
Yeah,
with
top
Bolton.
bins outside the box. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it? Yeah, really nice, really nice. But do we know much about him, folks, other than he was at Everton when Ancelotti was there? He then got a move to Spurs, and now he's coming to Leeds United. I think that's the extent of what I know about him.
One thing I would say
Played with
about him
before.
is we know the 49ers process is long, and they will have been doing this for ages. And if they've chosen this guy right now, my trust in them is high, so I will definitely back their ideas. They clearly like what they've said from me. Will have suggested the plan that he wants to do. Will have suggested players, fees, and all that. So maybe he was part of these deals that have just come in. Maybe he had a say in them. We don't know. But yeah, I like this one for now.
Yeah, a lot of people saying about his time at Everton and it wasn't so successful. But if it wasn't, then would Tottenham have gone and got him? It's not like he took a step down. He took a step up. So yeah, I mean, time will tell. But as Lockie said, at the moment, I'm just trusting everything that the 49ers do. So, yeah.
Go on, John.
Go on. No, I was just going to say, because Jamie said didn't make great signings, but if you actually look, like Allen from Napoli at the time was a top signing. I think he brought in James Rodriguez.
Iwobi, was it?
Iwobi, yeah. There was some other names, which I know 30 million.
Jerry Mina, probably.
Yerry Mina as well. So
I was just going to say as well, like on that, I think what we heard from Fark is he wants to work close with the director to find players. We don't know if they work close. They might have just been players he's been told. You need to work with a manager for me to get the right players for him. So I'd back that Fark will give him a list of players. He will suggest some names and they'll find the right players from that. So if they work like that, a close relationship, I don't see why it can fail in that sense.
To me, I still think there's a director of football. I think we're following the Brentford recruitment process because I just read again the start of the Phil article, Phil article in the Athletic, and it says a senior recruitment role. So I think it'd be more like the head of recruitment, head of performance, like what Gabi Ruiz used to be when Horta was in charge, but in a different level, because of course Ruiz was in charge of the scouts and he oversaw the scouting system throughout Europe. But I think this one, Greta Stenson, will be the head of scouting, but in a different role. He'll be in working strictly with a senior figure. Don't know if it's going to be Hammond or another one, because at Brentford, Lee Dykes is basically their head of chief scout, and they have Phil Giles, it is the name, I think, the director of football. So I think we'll have two figures working together to like what's happening at what happened at AC Milan with Maldini and Massara. One will have the director of football role, and which of course is not limited just to the transfers. It's a daily basis role. You have to work with the squad. You have to speak with the manager. You have to oversee the general situation daily at the squad and see how the squad mood is, how the manager has the control of the squad, if the squad is following him, while the other one will be more focused, in my point of view, on transfers and creating a new scouting system, because of course all the scouts have left, the one that Horta brought through Gabi Ruiz. That is my point of view. I think we'll have two figures in that specific department, in my view.
Yeah. I'm just looking for something because Alex Smith says, "Joe, can you hear my boy's goal? He would love it." Did you send it me on Instagram, mate? I can't remember if you did. Just give us another nudge. And there we go.
Need to rate the goal.
Yeah, should we do some comms over it? Are you ready? Right?
Do some analysis.
Yeah, there. We'll do some comms over it. Wait. What's your son called? I think you told me actually. One sec.
I can use the dogs, Joe.
So what?
I can use the dogs.
Oh, can you snoring? My
No.
17 in October does the 100 meters in 11.6, and he said, "I'll tell him he'll play for free. Can play either wing or striker. Takes a great penalty. Only I don't know if I can air it now, Alex. He's just said only problem is we're in Hampshire and he supports Chelsea. That might lose him some points, but I'll stick it up for you, mate. Just give us one sec. There we go. Right, can you see this, lads? You ready?
Okay.
Let's go.
Which team is it? It is
Orange. No, sorry, wrong one. That's a bit of a poor ball from the left back, really, to be fair, but he's gotten on the end of it here as the number 5. Shapes inside. He's on the edge of the box. Oh, it's Pablo-esque. That was quite nice. Actually, wasn't it?
It looks like the one that Click scored against Boro.
You know what I will say though, for the left back here, I mean, it's pure hit and hope. That's one of my kicks. That you ready? Watch. I tell you what, he's done all right actually. But
well to get there, stretching the defence.
Yeah.
That 1v1 shapes him up. See you later, lad.
Yeah,
bang.
Yeah, lovely.
Getting Joe. Getting Joe. His name's Joe as well. There you go. There we go. Great stuff.
Nice.
Well done, Joe.
Good goal.
I hope that's all right for you, Alex. Let me just get that back on. Right, cool. What are we up to now? That's through me. That has. Joe, can you even kick a ball since you? No, I couldn't kick it before. To be fair. So right, let's talk about Nat Phillips.
Yes.
Because we've been chatting about Nat Phillips since forever. He was probably the first big name that was mentioned really when Phil Hay did that article way back when about the names. I think we had like Manning, Hamer, Phillips, etc. So this one again, led to believe personal terms agreed. Very, very close as well. I think this one though is probably going to be the most expensive, between 8 and 10. I know some people will be unhappy with that, but just the signing itself. I mean, I'll come to you first, Lloyd. What do you make to that signing? I really rate it, and he can play ball. It's a misconception.
Yeah, I think one of the things I like the most about Phillips is how comfortable he is on the ball, and obviously under Farker we will be playing out a lot from the back, so we need people who want the ball and not just get rid of it like it's a hot potato. One of the only concerns I have with him is his sort of like mobility. Like I get the sort of vibe he's a bit slow, like turning and stuff. So I think it'd be important, like with who he's partnered up against in defence, to make sure that we're not caught cold. But overall, I think it'd be a brilliant signing. I just wonder who will be partnered with him. Will it be Creswell or will it be Voba? But yeah, it's a good signing. It would be a good signing, definitely. For
sure. I think it'll be a great signing. I would imagine he would play on the right alongside Voba. I just think, Andrea, that yes, these players I'd be more worried about in the Premier League, right? And we know that that's our aim. But I think someone like a partnership, let's say, for example, of Nat Phillips and Voba, and this is no disrespect to championship clubs, we spent a lot of time there, but for me, them two as a pair, maybe Leicester aside, I think they deal with most problems in the championship, and I mean that, and I'll say that with chest.
Yeah, I agree, because I said that I prefer other players, but if you look at the system, he's a tall defender, can pass the ball, is physical, good with others. Mainly the physicality, of course, is the good point in his game, the good characteristics that he has, fitting into the system. But especially, like you said, if you look at this record he's played in the Premier League with Liverpool, then they had a season where they had Van Dijk injured and they played mainly with Nat Phillips and Ozan Kabak, especially. And Gomez was injured too, I think, at the time. And it didn't do that bad, of course. They reached the European football by in the last match day of the season, I think, if I remember correct. But when he played in the Championship with Bournemouth, they got promoted, and he wasn't that bad. So he has the experience. He's a player that has already been promoted and has already been there in a team challenging you for promotion. So these, of course, are good points. I would have preferred other players, to be fair, but if you look at the experience in the end, is a good signing. I still have doubts about the fee, to be fair, because I don't think he's worth 10 million. I'd be I'd be happier around 8 million, but yeah, really, if we can lower it down to 6, it'd be good. But yeah, in the end, you're dealing with a club like Liverpool. He's been there. He's played also with, like you said the last time, Joe, when we spoke about him, he's played with Stuttgart and they got promoted too from the Zweite Bundesliga. So yeah, I don't really like much the type of player, but if I look at the system, I'm happy about it. And the system and his career trajectory, because he's been promoted twice with Stuttgart and Bournemouth.
And again, without sounding cliche, it's a great age again. He's had a top manager in Jurgen Klopp. He's come through and worked alongside Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip, Kanate in this, Kanate this past year as well. So, they're not bad centre-backs. I've always enjoyed watching Joel Matip, to be fair, and I think if he didn't get as many injuries, he'd be right up there. I think on the ball, he's lovely to watch. But this is a good point as well, because I think the amount of times I've had a go at Strauch having a 50p head, it's a good point from Vic Vinegar that from set pieces as well, Nat Phillips is very dangerous. I know a lot of Liverpool fans would say, like, he basically would head his nan in order to get the ball. That was something that was like a running theme that season where he played so much. I think it was when Van Dijk had got injured a couple of years back. But I think overall, I think, like you said, there probably are better options out there. But this is a guy who's played in the Champions League. Can you hear the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the neighbours, that one. They're looking after it. Mine don't even bark like that. That's a joke. But yeah, Nat Phillips, another one. Top signing. Right, let's now talk about Emmanuel Dennis. Let's talk about Emmanuel Dennis, because I was told yesterday that the deal was wanted by both parties and that Norwich want to sell. Nottingham Forest want to sell. The thing is with Nottingham Forest, there is a lot of deals that can be done with Nottingham Forest, not just from us, but from a lot of other clubs, because they bought every man and his dog, right? They bought every man and his dog last summer. They don't want Dennis. I believe he wants to stay in the UK. I know we touched on it before, Andrea, and you said at the time you fancied him to go to Europe because he tried it in England and it hadn't worked out. But it looks like he's happy to stay. There's a lot of reports now saying that personal terms have been agreed with him as well. There's a lot of debate over where he plays. Can he play through the middle? Is he more apt off the left? What does that then mean for Rutter, Sinisterra, etc.? So it might be that there might be a lot of positions really, and not and too many players to fill them. But again, it's important to have squad, and I like the feel of how fluid it'll be, because in that pre-season game against Manchester United, Rutter was in the middle, he was on the left, and I think we'd see something similar to from Emmanuel Dennis. But again, if this one does have legs, which I believe it does, it's a positive one, right? Again, it's a player that for me would light it up in the Championship.
Yeah, I agree. I know a lot of people are looking at his record and, he's scored 1 in 3. But like I said, I don't think I did it online, but I was saying to myself, look at Chuba Akpom. Look at Joel Piroo. Akpom has not scored over 10 goals in a season his entire career until last season at 27 years of age. So that, to me, screams right manager, right coach. Look at Joel Piroo. His goal-scoring record before Swansea was not good. Right manager, right? And it's the same for Dennis. And he's proven in the Premier League, everyone looks at last season, didn't work out. And not every move works out for every player. Otherwise, if it did work out, we wouldn't be linked with him. He'd be going somewhere a lot bigger, right? But when he's the type of player for me, when I watched him, especially at Watford, in that poor side, by the way, he was by far their best player going forward. He was one that took the game by the scruff of the neck, and 16 goal involvements for a team that wasn't good at all, was it, that Watford side, is impressive. And so I think we've got to take a lot into context. I think if we're looking for a player that scored 20 goals every season for the last 10 years, it's not happening. You know what I mean? Especially not in top leagues. So I like him as a striker under Farke. I think running off the last man, pace. He's not bad in build-up as well. Obviously, as a winger as well, he can play wing, so that build-up's there. And like you said, fluidity, Farke system. You're not just going to stand in one position. You're constantly moving. So I think in that sense, I'd love it. I think it would make a lot of sense. And I think as a player now who's looking for that challenge, you know what I mean? He's had a bad year, not played a lot.
Lockie, you touched on it, right? Because this is what really pisses me off. You know, when people just make lazy things and say, well, if he was that good, why did only Forest want him? If he was that good, why is not? Do you know what I mean? It's such lazy comparisons because like you said about a manager wanting a certain profile of player and it works for him, etc. Like Leeds fans last season, bearing in mind I did these videos last summer, all wanted Dennis in the Premier League. We were all after him. He went to Forest. We've now been relegated, and all of a sudden he's not good enough, and there's better out there. It makes my sometimes I read comments, and again, everyone's entitled to their opinion. You know that on this channel. I'm never digging anyone out. Okay, sometimes I might bite, but that's all fun of the channel, right? But what I'm saying is, I don't understand how last year when we were in the Premier League, he was good enough. Now we've dropped down a division. There's better out there. I honestly, it really makes the mind boggle a little bit. What are your thoughts on it? Who wants to take it? Lloyd, Andrea? Who wants to go next?
I think Dennis. I remember when he was at Watford and he had that season. I think he scored 10, got 6 or 7 assists or something.
Yeah.
And I remember at that moment in time, he was like a real sought after player. Everyone was saying how good he is, and I've got a mate who's a Watford fan, and he raves about him still. And he just didn't work out at his next club, and then all of a sudden, he's a bad player. Like he isn't. Also, you've got to take into account we're in the division below. So if he has got the ability to score 10 goals in the Premier League for a team who were pretty much getting battered every week, what could he do in a team who's going to be hopefully at the upper end of the Championship with dominating possession as well, hopefully? Yeah, and what's the fee? What reported about 8 million? Is it 10 million tops?
I think Forest are wanting between 10 and 12, but again, the important thing to remember here with someone like Dennis, if there isn't many suitors for him, the fact that Forest need to clear their decks because of FFP, you can say, well, listen, he wants to come to us. You want to sell him? We're a willing buyer. Let's talk.
Look at everyone has bad seasons in Premier League, right? That happens. Otherwise, we wouldn't be linked with any of them if they had good seasons.
Exactly,
And you look at our wingers and strikers last year. Who scored more goals than him in his best season last year? Jack Harrison didn't get 10 goals and 6 assists last season.
True.
Nonto didn't. Somerville didn't. And we all think Nonto's an amazing talent, which he is.
Yeah.
But proven quantity in the top league, he's done it. He had a bad year last year, but before that, in a poor side, 16 goal involvements wasn't good. And I just quickly want to say as well, possession. I think he works better in a possession side where he can get more involved in the play instead of just countering. More involved in the play and the build-up. I think it worked really well for him.
I liked him what he was at Watford, to be fair. I wanted to check because last time I said I don't think he's dropping into the Championship, but it seems that he will be open to a move. And honestly, it shows you how far the English game has progressed, because really the Championship is transforming into a Premier League too in terms of the quality of the players. Players preferring to play in the Championship because they can return to the Premier League, or if they play well in the Championship, have a move like we've seen with Gyökeres, with Coventry moving to Sporting, to a top European side, if not to a Premier League side. It shows you the ambition that a Championship club, especially the top ones, have. And of course, I'll be really happy if he signs. I didn't think he was a profile that we could get in the Championship, to be fair. 10 goals in the Premier League with Watford, and looking at the fact that too, they didn't play a good style of football. They were more route one type of team. Despite they had players who are good offensively, like Ismail Assar or Chucho Hernandez. But apart from the attackers, they were really poor behind the attack. Like what he said, we're often on the same page, and this is the case again. He's versatile and especially can play in various positions. But I think if we bring him in, it'll be the number 9, because he's not a really more physical one compared to others. But he is one that has very good off-the-ball movement and knows when to cut behind the defense. And if you look at the system and the type of possession-based football with fast build-up that Falcons plays, I think it will be a a good addition, different to other profiles we've been linked in, and especially for that is a peculiar style of play, it will be very good addition. And just to finish it off, like what we said with Kamara and Ampadu, this player has international experience because he's a Nigerian international and he has played with Club Brugge in the Champions League. So he's another player with some experience, you know.
Agree.
Exactly, mate. I agree completely. And I just want another super chat's come in. So I just want to say, Mark Neighbour, who says, not a Leeds fan, but love the content. You as a person, Joe, and these three guests, they always deliver respectful, knowledgeable, and fun. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Mark. It's class to be able to build up a community like this, especially for those that aren't even Leeds fans. So it's amazing. And listen, we're getting close to 1,400 people now, folks. So if you can continue to like the video, that would be amazing. And make sure you subscribe to everyone's channels. The link's in the description. Just a little bit off piste here. Big up Jay from Auto Better, who sent me the picture as well. And Marcus has mentioned it in the comments to say there's a sign at the dart saying Weston McKennie is
have you seen
loves a takeaway. So I'm just gonna bring it up for you because it's a
have you seen the video of him arriving today at the Juve training center?
Oh really?
No.
I've not seen it. Let me show this. This one here. Look, there we go. Oh, you can't see. Let me get rid of the comment. There you go. Weston McKennie loves a takeaway. Marching on together. I know we shouldn't laugh, but you know, it's funny. It's funny. There you go. Thanks, Jay, for sending that through, and for those that have mentioned it. This is the thing with Leeds fans. It's all meant in jest, though. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of they might get angry, but listen, it is what it is. It's all love. It's all love here. Right. Okay. So Emmanuel Dennis, we've chatted about. I think we'd all take it, but of course, I think the real ace in the pack would of course be the next man that we're gonna speak about, and that is Joel Piroo. Again, we've heard Kamara mentioned by the journalists. We've heard Nat Phillips mentioned by the journalists. Dennis seems more likely. I think the one we'd all love, of course, is Joel Piroo. But again, there hasn't really been meat on the bones. And maybe Leeds fans, having been burnt for so long, think, do you know what? He's going to Leicester. He's going here. I think we've come round to that idea with Hamer. We all got excited, and then we see Manning go, and we go, oh, it's always the case. We never get the main man. But listen, there's reports out there that say Joel Piroo got, I think, 19 goals maybe last season in the league, up there with the best of them. Apparently, that he's agreed personal terms. Now, it's not just with Leeds United, by all accounts. Apparently, he Atalanta, which again... That's a huge club, and Leicester. But so again, we'll have to wait and see. But it shows Leeds United, I guess, they have the facilities. You know, we were worried about, do we have enough money, etc. They clearly do. Otherwise, they wouldn't had these conversations with these sort of players. You know, listen. Just tell me, are you excited by Piroo? But do you actually see us winning the battle? Because I can't remember the last time we, won a battle like this for a top player. You know what I mean?
I think it'll be tough. Don't get me wrong, especially with. Are they in the Champions League, Andre?
No, Europa League, I think.
Europa League. European football. Yeah, that'll be tough. I think if they're seriously, if they have the funds and they're serious in it, I don't think there's no chance. But if they're not that serious, look, I think. Now we're seeing players come in. Other players will be seeing that, and they'll have more of an idea of the squad and the caliber of it. This, Piroo might see Dennis linked. He might see Ampadu. He might think, right, so something's happening here. So I think that's.
We'll probably be telling him, bro. We've got such and such on the way. Such and such on the way. Do you know what I mean?
That's for any player. That helps. You want to know what players you're going to play with next season.
Yeah.
But and I said it's quite controversial. I don't get me wrong. I would 100% take him. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I don't think he's the best suited striker for a FARC system. I genuinely don't. He's not. He's not running in behind type player. He's not a pressing type player. What he is a phenomenal ball striker who can score a lot of goals from anywhere. So I would take him just to, before the chat goes crazy. I would. But yeah, it's one of them. If I didn't I wouldn't be like totally devastated just based on the fact that I do think there's a lot of good strikers out there. But without a doubt, he's a phenomenal player, and you would take him in any championship club, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree totally.
Yeah, thank you. Not just me.
I mean, I think it'd be a terrific signing. Like, what's he got? 40 goals in 80-something games for Swansea in the last 2 seasons. We need a new number 9. Like, is Dennis the answer to a number 9? I would like Dennis, but I definitely prefer him out wide. So we need like a statement signing in that position, because we can't go into the season with Bamford. And I mean, is there many other options other than Piroo? Like,
there will, I mean, like
Ampadu.
Yeah, Pollo Paulo. Yeah, that guy. The guy who drinks beer on the sidelines.
Yeah, we need him, don't we? Let's be honest. Yeah, but I think in terms of what we know, there'll be players. Fact knows that the new technical director. There'll be loads of players out there.
The new Pookie's out there somewhere.
Yeah, is that what's it? P.M. Paulo? Is that him?
Yeah,
he is.
What sort of fee was it quoted for Piroo? 20-25 or something?
I think he'll be expensive.
Yeah.
He'll be very expensive.
I'm not too sure. I know we've got money, but spending money on these players that we're talking about now, and then I mean, if we sell an Adams, maybe that is something the club is expecting potentially. Then that becomes free, but that's a lot of money in it.
But I think you're right. I think if Atalanta come calling, he's going there, isn't he? You know.
But
out of us and Leicester, you know, us all day long, isn't it?
What are your thoughts on the Atalanta side, Andrea?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, I've just had a look. There's no links. I'm just going on what I've been told. Again, it may be way wrong. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly what I was going to say. You know, of course, Atalanta guarantees you European football. They're a very well-run club. They have a fantastic support. One of the greatest fan bases in Italy. Very passionate, and the system under Gasperini is great, offensive, attacking football. But if you look at the squad right now, they have Højlund, they have Zapata, they have Muriel, Ademola Lookman too.
Would Højlund not be on his way to Man United though?
Yeah, exactly. The only way for him to go there, I think, if Højlund leaves. But they're asking around 80 million for him right now. So Højlund, I've seen him play.
Man United are skint as well. Man United don't have the money, which sounds mad. Until
they have the takeover done, it's the only thing that we have in common right now, you know, because the Glazers in that specific, they spent a lot. To be fair, the Man United fans always complain, but they spent a lot of the club finances not injecting new money, you know. In a certain way. But yeah, I don't know if it'd be the right move for Piroo. Of course, they if they have all these strikers, I won't go there if I were him, you know. But if Højlund leaves, it might be a good signing for them. Looking at the system too, because of course the strikers are similar to him. If you look at Zapata, if you look at Højlund too, Højlund is not physical like Piroo, but yeah, if you look at the system Atalanta plays, he'll fit right in, to be fair. If we're leading, they have to play European football under them. But yeah, the other aspect is that you see how powerful the championship is, because if a player like Piroo, who has been a prolific goal scorer in the recent 2 seasons for Swansea, has a good terms with Atalanta, a top Serie A side, challenging for European football every season, and European football places, of course, playing in the Europa League, agreed at the same time with 2 championship clubs. It shows you how far the championship has come, you know, challenging with European sides in Serie A. But like Lucky said before, I agree, because I like how it finishes, but for the system, it's a little bit too slow for me. He doesn't go back in the defense. He doesn't press. He's a stationary player. Of course, he has a great shot, powerful shot. He's good with his header. He's good with from outside the box. But like I said the last time, he's good when he has space. When he doesn't, he does all the play, passes the ball. But I think he needs to play near the box, you know, not going back in a certain position. So it's like it doesn't do pressing. If you know, Bamford had one good characteristic in the past with Bielsa, that he pressed it well, you know. Piroo is more stationary, but of course, if we sign him, if you look at his goal scoring record, I'd be happy. But yeah, Falke will have to figure out a way to make him comfortable inside the system, you know.
I mean, is there an argument to be made? We'd be better off signing Akpom for free and using that money that we would spend on Piroo elsewhere, considering how many goals. Didn't Akpom score 28?
Akpom top scorer, I think. Yeah.
My only worry with Akpom, like I mentioned earlier, is he's only done it one season.
Yeah.
And actually, he scored 1 in his first 13 last year.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, first 12 or 13, one of the two.
Yeah.
So, that one season wonder mark, or is this the start of his career? Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure. He was really good last year. Don't get me wrong, he was. But he clearly, for carrot ball and the system suited him a lot. Hence why, he started scoring goals. But yeah, it's a tough one, strike, because you've got a lot of it. Again, it's what the coach. If Piroo gets accepted, and we put that money in, Farke's clearly found a way, or believes he can find a way in which he will be perfect for Leeds United.
Yeah, true.
Farke's not the type of manager who will just say, "Yeah, we'll take him. He's a good striker." He'll will he work for me? So yeah, we'll see on that one, I guess.
Imagine if we get Dennis and Ampadu. Because 8 million, but looking at Ampadu too, I think the fee will be around that region. It's not that expensive, to be fair, for a top championship club. I think looking at the system, Ampadu really the new bookie, like Lloyd called him, it will be a very good signing for the system. He's perfect for the system, really. If you go and watch some of his highlights, of course, I've seen some Venezia game last season in Serie B, because I watch a lot of Serie B, because after the Champions League is the best second tier in Europe. He will adapt very, very quickly to championship football, to the system. For me.
Well, we got Ampadu, right? So maybe the club's watching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got Nick Hammond waiting in the wings, man.
Who's this next Pookie regen?
yeah. Listen, I mean, whoa, what a day! It's been a good day, and long may it continue. Because the mad thing is, they're still not being confirmed yet. So there's more to come. You know what I mean? We're going to have the first interviews with the players. We're going to see them. You know what I mean? It's exciting times. And like with anything, folks, anything that we've shared here, Dennis, Kamara, anything could change. Anything could change in the drop of a hat. But let's just hope Leeds United are working their damnedest to get these deals done. And I'm excited for what the future's going to hold. Like it's looking good. It's looking good. So. We've waited long enough, but finally it looks like they're clicking into gear. So long may it continue, and you'll be able to track it all on the Just Joe Football Show, and of course Lloyd at Let's Talk Leeds United. Lloyd, what's coming up on Let's Talk Leeds United, my man?
Just going to be reacting to obviously the daily news, and as the season starts, that's when it will get a bit more interesting with reviews, previews, predictions, things like that. But obviously our new channel, so I'm just getting used to it. It's a lot harder than it looks, just like bashing out a video and uploading it. Like there's a lot more that goes into it, and I'm just sort of trying to get used to it a bit. But yeah.
No, of course. I hear it, bro. And listen, thank you for coming on and giving up your time, bro. And keep grinding, man.
Me,
keep grinding. Of
course. Sometimes because I watch this show so much anyway, like whilst I'm here, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually on this show tonight. Rather than just watching it.
I love that, brother, man. Love. Honestly, it means a lot. Lockie, what's going on? I watched your video earlier on. So what's next in the pipeline?
Yeah, hopefully more player profiles. If we sign some more, hopefully next few days. I'm planning on doing a Matteo Joseph video on how I think he'll fit the system. Maybe with a few other current players. So we've got that. We're going to do match reactions again to the game. Is it the weekend we play Monaco?
Yeah, Saturday, mate, 4:00.
Yeah, so player profiles, system videos, some reactions as well.
It's exciting times. And Andrea, my man, what can we expect from you on Twitter?
Well, not on Twitter, but first of all, I have to figure out if I'm going to stay inside the squad of moving to European football. Or
is his alter ego again? Is he Pascal again?
No, just commenting and voicing out my opinions, and talking about Leeds, just what makes the difference, in the end. Just love talking about Leeds. So with what I think about my football opinions in the end, and I'm always happy to join you and all the other lads to talk about football and interact, about the club we love in the end.
Yes, we all do. Listen, we've had crazy numbers tonight. 1,300 people, absolutely amazing. I want to make sure you all like it on the way out, and I want to see both Lockheed and Lloyd's channels, subscriber counts going up after tonight's show. So please do that. And of course, Andreas, follow us on Twitter. We're gonna shoot now. We've done an hour, and I've got to be somewhere else over on the 12-man podcast discussing a little bit of Leeds on there as well. So if you're stuck for something to do, head on over there. But if not, enjoy your evening, folks. And we're gonna leave you with, what do we fancy tonight? Shall we have a bit of Randy? I think we'll have a bit of Randy. Peace out, folks.